Peace and grand rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine heirs. Today is May the 26th, 1442 on the ancient moon calendar and 1441 on the ancient sun calendar and 2021 on the ancient Greco-Roman calendar. We want to acknowledge the full moon and the blood moon today and the lunar eclipse and all that it brings with it, all of the amazing energies that we've been feeling all week. Yes, Islam. And so the first thing I want to quickly go over, we are going to have a banking demonstration today from our treasurer from the banking committee, banking judiciary rather. But before we do that, I want to give just a quick update on the Moroccan American Exchange and the numbers that we have so far with regard to our vast estate and the wealth that the heirs have put forth, claiming and proclaiming the resources on our land. If you have not received your investment and inheritance packet, please, we'll tell you how to get that right after I give this update so that you can participate in the growth and the expansion of our territories and our vast estate and the value of it. So hopefully you can see what's on the screen. All rise and stand. This is a sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine, ancient, Article 3, Moorish American, Moroccan consular court action. So the numbers that we're about to give are the investments that the heirs have made in gold dollarium, which is also US dollars in red in all lowercase letters. So it's not Federal Reserve debt notes, it's gold-backed money that the heirs have put forth for these companies on the Moroccan American Exchange. And this is just 30 days. As of yesterday, it was 30 days that we started the Moroccan American Exchange on April 26th. And we're so valuable. When our prophet said, "Children, you're just plain rich," he knew what he was talking about. So our vast estate has grown by these numbers. The Puget Sound Agricultural Company, $59 million in gold dollars. Hudson Bay Company, $69 million in gold dollars. Bank of New York, $250 million in gold dollars. Chase National Bank, $105 million in gold dollars. Hanover National Bank, $150 million. Cleta Ora Mining Company, which is the company that provided the gold for the Federal Reserve, which we're the Federal Reserve in all lowercase letters in red, $325 million. Gold Hill Mining, $10 million. New York Stock Exchange, $3 million. American Trust and Savings, $30 million. General Motors, $125 million. Wood Gin Plantation, $50 million. Pearl Powder Company, $50 million. Wilson Spice Company, $10 million. Bank of Richmond, $60 million. Federal Reserve in red in all lowercase letters, as are all of the companies, $60 million. Reed Gold Mine, $60 million. Norfolk Southern, $10 million gold dollars. United States Military, $25 million gold dollars. American Motors Company, $10 million. Alabama Mineral Land Company, $15 million. Birmingham Trust and Savings, 10 million. Southern Power Company, 10 million. Southern Railroad Company, 100 million. Kings Mountain Gold Mine and Railroad Company, 10 million. T.M. Hughes Real Estate Agency, 60 million. Duke Power, 5 million. Cadillac Motor Car Company, 100 million. Exxon Oil, 150 million. General Electric, 150 million. Mutual Life Insurance Company of New York, 105 million. New York Trust Company, 100 million. Sears, Roebuck and Company, 150 million. Pacer Companies, 100 million. National Bank, 50 million. Morgan Guaranty Trust Company of New York, 50 million. General investments in the Al-Moroccan American Exchange, which were not specifically designated to a company, but the heirs wanted to just contribute generally to the Al-Moroccan American Exchange, and those contributions and investments came up to 113 million. All total, in the last 30 days, the Al-Moroccan American Exchange and the heirs and our vast estate has grown by a total of 2.739 trillion gold moorishe sovereign dollarium and gold United States dollars in red and all lowercase letters. Again, if you have not gotten your sovereign inheritance claim packet, please send an email to thegovernment@gmail.com. That's thegovernment@gmail.com, and government does have an E on the end. And in the subject line, put request for inheritance and investment packet. This email is only for receiving the completed inheritance packet, so please don't send any other requests or anything to that particular email. And then a competent sovereign inheritance claim packet consists of the following documents in red in all lowercase letters: a name change, appellation change document with a copy of the moorishe identification card if you have one, a judicial proclamation in red in all lowercase letters, a proclamation of trust in red in all lowercase letters, a lien on the Social Security number. In that black Social Security number with the minus sign is the debtor, so we lien that. And then we do a court action on that, and the false name in all black letters, in capital letters in black ink, that is a hypothecation of the sovereign-born appellation. And then proof of a court action, which all of these documents are in court action form, so you don't really have to worry too much about that, but you do have to be willing to do consular court actions, because as we move through commerce, that's going to be key with everything that we're doing in order to continue removing any obstacles in terms of courts attempting to claim and proclaim our vast estate. A dividend reinvestment affidavit, which is provided, we provide that to you. And again, we provide all of these documents so that you can use them. We provide them by email. And then an autographed sovereign creditor instrument written to the Al-Moroccan American Exchange or to any of the companies, naming any of the companies that you want to step up and claim and grow. Please text the word completed packet sent to 334-294-9828 upon completion of the document. Include your appellation and email address in the text as well. Okay, peace and grand rising. We have some other information that's going to be coming out shortly, but right now we want to move on to our banking demonstration. This is going to give us some information as we move through. Most of you are aware that we have already begun the printing and minting of our own money. We've needed our own money for many, many years. Over hundreds of years, we've needed our own money. And so we have taken it upon ourselves as the government, which all Moors are the government. So I'm no more the government than you are. I'm no more the consulate than you are. We're all equal in all that we do. And so we have decided that we need to have our own money, and so we started printing our own money. So we want to, I'd like to bring forth Empress Kenya Houston L. So that she can do her demonstration and show us what she has done. She's done some amazing work. I'd like to send out a special shout out to Empress Kenya and also Empress Thursdaye. The work is amazing, and they put their whole hearts into what they do, and you know, it's just been amazing these last few days and weeks that we've actually been drilling down on the things that our nation needs. So just one moment, let me. Empress Kenya. Empress Kenya, do you want to star 6?
I see that I'm unmuted now. I'm able to speak. Okay.
Okay, and I'll send the presenter option over to you.
Okay. Thank you. See it yet.
Okay, you should see it any moment now.
Okay.
Let me know when you get it.
All right, it just popped open. Okay. Okay. All right, let me know when everyone is able to see.
Okay.
We can see.
We can see it. Yes. Just one moment. And Empress Kenya, there's some, I don't know if it's, there's a little bit of noise in your background. We want to be able to hear you.
Okay, is it still any noise in my background? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
There are noise in the background. Are you?
Okay. Not sure. Noise.
It sounds like maybe an air or a vent or, you know, something. It sounds something like that.
Maybe I'll try calling in instead. Bear with me. Let me see how to do that.
That may assist Empress if you want to do that.
Okay. Let me see.
Okay. And while she's doing that, I wanted to just also send out shout out to everyone on this call who has sent information to us, because we need to hear from you so that we can continue to provide the things in any way that we can for our nation. We've gotten so much awesome information from I don't think there's a single one on the call who hasn't sent us information in one form or another, whether it be by email, by text, calling, or by just sending the energy, the positive energy. It all helps, and so we're so appreciative. And then each demonstration that each Moor has done is giving the momentum to our whole nation all at once. we've been able to do the things that we've been able to do because the Moors keep demonstrating their sovereign status. So I just want to send a shout out to the Moors for that. Islam. Islam Empress, we can hear you if you want to go ahead. I yield. If you're speaking, we can't hear you, Empress.
Yes, hello? Can everyone hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, thank you. This is the introduction to our universal Al-Moroccan gold delarium. Okay, so we have currency denominations. The currency denominations listed below will be printed with the following honorary face on them. We have the 100 million gold MSD, which Empress Lucille Lawhorn Ritchie's face will be on it. We have the 100,000 gold MSD that will have Prophet Noble Drew Ali's face on it. We have the 50,000 gold MSD, which is going to have Empress Berdiati Washita's face on it. We also have the 20,000 gold MSD, which has Empress Pearl Drew Ali's face on it. The 10,000 gold MSD will have political activist Noble Marcus Garvey face on it. The 5,000 gold MSD will have Grand Sheikh Noble Taj Tariq Bey's face on it. The 1,000 gold MSD has yet to be determined, but it will have an Empress's face on it. We have the 500 gold MSD, which will have Minister Noble El Haj Malik El Shabazz, which is also known as Malcolm X. His face will be on that. And then we have the 100 gold MSD, which will have Empress Light Tajiri Bey's face on it. We have the 50 gold MSD, and that is yet to be determined, but an Empress's face will be on that as well. We have the 20 gold MSD, which will have Emperor Noble Khalid Muhammad's face on it. We have 10 gold MSD, which will have philanthropist Noble Muhammad Ali's face on it. We have the 5 gold MSD, which will have Empress Kenya Houston L on it. And then we have the 1 gold MSD, which is yet to be determined, but a Noble face will be printed on that as well. In order for us to decide which honoraries will be placed on the remaining delarium, gold delarium, what we're going to do is cast our vote. So the 1,000 gold MSD, the 50 gold MSD, as well as the 1 gold MSD, we're going to need to, just take some names and vote on the final 3 selections. Okay, so the heirs will be voting using a specified method for the remaining nobilities to be chosen, and the voting method will be determined. We haven't decided that at this time. I don't know if you wanted to jump in here, Light, and try to, let us know, or if that's something we can revisit later on.
I'll say this, that the heirs will do it by email.
Okay.
By way of, and that email will go out from the government@gmail.com, and that's government with an E on the end. And then when that email goes out, the heirs can respond to that email, and those who have sent in their packets to the Al-Moroccan American Exchange in red and all lowercase letters will be able to go ahead and cast their vote, or to send, the appellation of whoever it is that they want to be on the money. Islam.
Okay. Islam. Within approximately 90 days, we will begin distributing the Universal Gold Delarium templates to the heirs that we have received completed lien packets from. So just if you did submit your documentation, just be on the lookout for an email from us. It will need to have the red wet ink stamp of your right red thumbprint and your wet ink autograph on your documentation, which is the highest seal necessary to authenticate the universal Moroccan gold delarium. So on each bill that is printed, you will need to put your autograph, your red ink autograph in all lowercase letters, along with your right red thumbprint in order to authenticate the gold delarium.
Islam.
Okay. The sovereign annex, yes.
I just want to say really quickly, I want to add just a little bit of clarity to that statement as well.
Sure.
The gold delarium is going to be, we're all going to be using the same money, and we're going to send out notification over this next 90 days to all of the banks on what to look for. And the gold delarium is not usable unless each one of you heirs, each one of us, when we get our gold delarium, each one of us, our wet ink signature is what gives, our wet ink autograph is what gives the delarium its authority, okay? So each one of us must sign our own delarium for the things that we're doing, okay? And then you give that money to whomever you're doing merchant or exchange to include the banks and everything. So we just wanted to be sure that everyone is aware. You do need to have had, in order to receive the money, you have to have your investment and inheritance package in to the government@gmail.com, and that's government with an E on the end, @gmail.com within this next 90-day time period. Islam, I yield.
Okay. So the heirs will need to demonstrate or complete the demonstration by mailing in or taking those required documents, and we're going to provide that list shortly, to the bank, along with the printed universal gold delarium denomination, totaling 10% of the amounts of the liens that you've completed that we have on file. Okay. So the documents that need to be, sent to the bank or taken in directly to open your sovereign account would be the following: your appellation change and judicial proclamation, the Moorish American ID card in red ink in all lowercase letters, your termination of all presumed corporate contract statement, your declaration of trust proclamation, the copy of your lien on the corp, the nom de guerre, the copy of the lien on the United States Corporation that was completed, that will be provided as well, a copy of the lien on all the banks, your court action on the corp and all agents, principals, heirs, and assigns, and any derivatives thereof, your currency controller affidavit, the indemnis facier for the amount of the exchange, and your autographed gold Moorish sovereign delarium. Okay. Now, in terms of printing, since we're going to all be printing our own gold delarium, we did do some research and find, some information regarding the paper size and quality of the paper. Okay. So there's a specific brand named G Natural, which produces 75% cotton, 25% linen paper, 85 GSM. It comes in white or ivory color options. They have legal or letter-sized paper. It starts free, waterproof, no bleach, visible fiber, and it has a matte finish. Unlike standard paper that can turn yellow or crumble over time, it works well with inkjet printers, copiers, offset machines, screen machines, and etc. And then we have option number 2, which is Southworth. It's 100% cotton paper, 24-pound, which is 90 GSM. It comes also in white and ivory, letter or legal. It's acid and lignin free, laser, inkjet, and copier compatible. It's wove and smooth paper finish, and it's watermarked with a date excuse me, it has a watermark and date coded in it for security purposes as well. And then we have option number 3, any other brand that uses natural materials for production. So if you come across any brand that you feel would work best for your printing, then, you know, you can do that as well. So they have different options out there, different materials, and you can see what works best for you. Now, you're also going to need a cutting board in order to cut, you know, whatever gold delarium you're printing. So we did do some research to find a couple of choices. And this particular one, the brand name is Amazon Basics Store. It's a paper trimmer. It's 10 sheet capacity. It comes in 12-inch or 15-inch guillotine style, and this is self-sharpening, so you won't have to worry about, you know, your blade getting dull or anything like that. When not in use, the trimmer arm can be secured in place and fully hiding the blade. It has a plastic base, printer ruler, and things of that nature. We also provided a link for you to go ahead and review the option and also buy it if that's what you decide. We have another option, which is option number 2, and the brand name is New Tinned. It's a paper guillotine trimmer, A4 paper cutter with gridded base. Cut length is 12 sheet capacity. It's made out of steel and plastic material, and then you have the different dimension in terms of the size, the length, height, and width, and then we also provided a link for you to review that product as well. These are just some frequently asked questions that we put together because we know, initially there's going to be some questions. So the first question is, how will I receive the gold delarium? Okay, the gold delarium will be emailed to everyone in our nation that has submitted their packet that we have on file, okay, upon receiving the required nationality documents in capitis diminutio nolo and in red ink. How can I gain access to the funds to purchase these items? You will have to print the universal gold delarium, autograph and stamp it with your right red thumbprint, take it along to the corporation, the bank, and submit it with all the necessary documentation so that they can process them accordingly. Next question is, how do I deposit the gold delarium in the bank? You will have to take it, like I said, to the bank to deposit it, or you can mail it in. You can actually mail in your packet. We suggest certified mail so that you can track it and know when it's been received by the bank. Another question is, how can I use the gold delarium to purchase necessities? You can use the gold delarium with any Moorish merchant worldwide, earthwide, to make any purchases and do commerce. Will I be able to withdraw gold delarium out of my sovereign account? Yes, but please be patient with the process as we grow and demonstrate our sovereign status. This is a sample of the 100,000 gold delarium currency that has Prophet Noble Jewelry on it. Okay, the delarium is 3 by 6 inches, which equals 9, whether the numbers are multiplied or added together. 9 symbolizes harmony and perfection. It is the highest of all the single-digit numbers, which means that its vibration is also the highest. And it also signifies divine completeness, karma, and the spiritual laws of the universe. That concludes my presentation for the Al-Moroccan Gold Delarium, Islam and Grand Rising. To all more.
Thank you, Empress.
Nunc pro tunc.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Empress. That's beautiful. So with regard to, I want to clarify, add a little bit to what the Ember said. It was very complete demonstration. We have done liens and court actions on all of the banks and placed and removed the corporate covering off of those banks and put them in subject status. So we're not doing business with corporations, we're doing business with subject companies. Okay? So and that's why everything has to be in red and all lowercase letters. Now, all Moors, we've been saying that we are the bank. We've been told that many times by our teachers that we are the bank, we're the bank, we're the bank. We kept hearing that. That is why this process is put in place, because we are the bank. And each Moor should be able to print off whatever they need, put their sovereign autograph and their right red thumbprint in red and all lowercase letters, and get whatever it is they need on the land. So the purpose of all that we have done over the last 3 years has been putting the gold standard in place, also leaning these corporations, and preparing for the heirs to be able to get whatever it is that they need. Everything on the land comes from our vast estate. That's why we're able to do this. Now, the ones that were doing business as the Federal Reserve previously, the courses, all they did was look at what our ancestors gave us the authority to do, and they mimicked it. So, as you heard, they were doing things like quantitative easing, and, you all have done the study on the banking piece. So, quantitative easing is where they just printed money and printed fiat, rather, printed and printed and printed and printed at will. Well, the heirs they actually got that from us. We're able to do all of that as the heirs at will. And some may not think that that's, but that's okay. We can show it. We'll be able to demonstrate that. And everything that's on our vast estate, to include every domicile, every conveyance, everything, already belongs to the heirs. We just need to competently proclaim it. And where competent proclaiming is concerned, that is where the everything in red and all lowercase letters in capitis diminution nolo, in propria persona sui juris, in proprio solo, and in proprio heredis comes in at. We are using the sovereign-born appellation, and you can put your title of nobility at the end of your sovereign-born appellation. So, for example, my sovereign-born appellation that my mother gave me on the day that I crowned her Stargate is Pauline Denise Ritchie. So, for this demonstration where the Al-Moroccan American Exchange is concerned, we're using our sovereign-born name in red and all lowercase letters, and we're leaning that black thing, leaning it and doing a court action on it and sending that thing off somewhere, because it's a debtor. It's a debtor conveyance method. It's a method by which the corpses send debt. That's the way they move debt. And so we want to make sure we get that taken care of so that there are no back doors to what we're doing. Additionally, we want to all speak with one voice, so we are all using the same letterhead. We're using the same money. We're using everything that is constitutional. We're not under the Constitution, but we must be aligned with it because we're the ones who gave it to the occupiers. In the chat, so there's a question in the chat, do we need to get another ID card? You do. However, I have put on social media a copy of my ID card for those who don't have the sovereign credit, and you can actually print it yourself. Print your own ID card in red and all lowercase letters. You can print it in ancient English if you choose to, but we do need to have an ID card in red and all lowercase letters. For this demonstration, we have to have that. So again, that's not something you can't print right at home on your printers. And then also for those who want to have someone else to do it, the justices on the Supreme Judiciary can print them for you, to include Justice Abbasi and Justice Giramore. I believe there are some other justices out there that will print them in red and all lowercase letters. Okay, so for this one, it must be done that way. In the chat, there's another question. Is the Social Security number lien the same as a nom de guerre lien? You can put them on the same document. I did when I did mine, and that lien that I did is available under the videos so that you can take a look at it, where I did lien both that black name, and there's also a court action on YouTube at Light Tajiri Bay where I sent that black thing to Guantanamo Bay for decapitation because it's a debtor. And what happens is when we say the same thing as, or I'm sorry, when the subjects say the same thing that we say about the debt, then that debt goes away. Okay? So the hybrid, the subjects, they entered in, they said the same thing we said right after we said it. So when I did the court action on that black name in all capital letters, as well as the black name in capitis diminutio minima, which means that the first letter was capitalized and the other letters are in lowercase, that thing, when I did my court action on January 1st to get rid of that thing, then in February, the subject, the inferior courts did the same thing. They repeated what we said, and they issued a war rant for that thing, okay? We have to know that we're not that thing, okay? And so once we do that, then the red in all lowercase letters, that is the creditor. On the day of some people don't realize that on the day that we were born, that we crossed the sovereign stargate, the stargate was sovereign and is sovereign, and so are the words that came from the mouth of the mother, of our mother. Okay? So we want to be sure that so we want to be sure that we are aware of all of that. Okay. Are there any other questions about the demonstration, about the sovereign delarium, any of that?
My interject is Khmer Bey.
Sure, Islam.
Review what you just said here. You can go to your Facebook and have a copy of the ID, and you can just adjust it, obviously, and then print it out for the national ID.
Yes.
Okay, now the demonstration, you can go to your YouTube and see how we put the liens on our strawman.
Yes. How to do, on January 1st, there's a video that shows the court action that I did on that black thing, and it also shows that Social Security number and the difference between a Social Security number and a sovereign security number. The sovereign security number is a completely different number, okay? And when I say completely different, it's a positive number and not a negative number. So, but you'll see that in the video. January 1st is the court action that I did. And in fact, I'll go ahead and go to YouTube now and place that in the chat. I'll place a link to the video that I'm referring to in the chat.
Now, on the lien on the nom de guerre, was all caps and then also upper and lowercase, first letter capitalized and lowercase?
Yes. So the subject is the upper and lowercase, where the first letter, because see, if you have even one capital letter, then capitalism is involved. Okay. So the upper and lowercase will be doing business as the all uppercase. So we want to get both of them because they were both doing business. One debtor, which is the subject debtor, was doing business as the uppercase, which is the court. Okay.
Okay, Ayo. Thank you.
Yes, Islam.
Islam.
So let me see. I believe, nope, that's not it. Let me go to that.
Empress, I put it in the chat room already.
You did? Oh, good. Thank you. Thank you, Empress. That's going to save you some time. Thank you. Are there any other questions? The link is in the chat. I don't see the link. Let me see. The link is in the chat to Grand Rising, Empress.
Empress, like.
Go ahead, Empress, and then the Emperor.
Okay. All right. I was wondering, is there a template for the ID card? You mentioned before we could make our own. So is there a template for that?
I put mine out there, and you can just copy it and print it up the way that you want to copy it and print it up. It's not a template. It's just a photo of my ID card.
Okay.
So that you can see what's on it.
All right. All right. Thank you. Can do. Islam.
Yes, Empress. My comment is in regards to the package, actually. I don't know if anyone else is having this issue or this problem, but I find for me, the ancient English is a little bit hard for me. I find it takes up a lot of time to actually, I don't want to say understand, but decipher each word. So I think maybe we should have, if we can have maybe two different, package, one with the ancient English for those that are there, and for those, another package with the regular English for the ones that are not there yet, because I find, for me, I'm not there yet, and I receive the package and I open it, and I just find that like it was almost, I don't want to say frustrating, but it was taking up a lot of my time understanding each word. I'm just not there yet, so I don't know. And I've spoken to a few folks, a few other Moors, and they were having the same kind of same issue. So I don't know if there's anybody else, or no one else want to speak up. But I'm just saying, for me, I'm not there yet. So yeah.
Thank you for that. I see in the chat that someone says look for an app to translate for you. There are apps that translate ancient English. They may not recognize the language itself, but they will translate it back into common English.
Okay.
Now, also, when we do demonstrations like this, we can minimize the amount of ancient English that we use. We can minimize it so that the majority of the words are in red and all lowercase letters and spelled a certain way, so that it's easier for those who are having that issue to decipher. Ancient English is phonetic. We're the Phoenicians, and so whenever you're looking at other languages, because see, a lot of our ancient records are in other languages, and that's the reason why we wanted to open the gate of our minds by using ancient English, so that we get accustomed to the different spellings, because we've been trained to spell one way. And that way has been fraudulent. It's been fraudulent. It's been corporate spells that they've been casting on us. And so the ancient English opens the gate in our minds to get accustomed to seeing spellings that are different. And as we're looking at the information that our ancestors left for us, we're seeing that they were spelling the same way as we are. Okay. And on Thursday, on tomorrow night, I'll be showing you all another aspect of the vast estate where the land is concerned and all of that, so that you can see some of the older things that were put on, you know, that were put out there by our ancestors. Okay. So that you will understand that ancient English is something that the spelling has always been different. Okay, our spelling has always been different. Even the spelling of the sovereign-born appellations for many of us has been different. And then when you think about, yes, Empress Alessandra, the you know, the Gullah Geechee people, and you know, the people in the South spelled differently from the ones in the North, the heirs in the North. The heirs in the West spell differently from the heirs in the East. The ones in New York spell and speak differently from the heirs in, you know, other territories. So we've always had different dialects of English, and there are over 200 dialects of English, which we did not know. We've only been taught one. And that's the corporate one that we were taught, which is the one whereby we're casting spells on ourselves and not even realizing that. Yes, Justice Yezreel, do you want to say a little bit about that? Because this is important, and I'm so glad you asked, Nobility, about that, because we do need to ensure that we know what's going on with that, with our spelling and all of that. Go ahead, Nobility.
Yes, language always reflects identity. Because just like you said, when you go to the different regions, go to the different territories, you'll have different spellings. You know, we have terminology here. I'm in the South. We have terminology in the South that, you know, you don't hear a lot of people using in the North, and vice versa. But that's absolutely the case. Language reflects identity. You know, when you look at how language is developed, people needed a way to describe what was in their immediate environments. And so you have, in some of our tribal tongues, you might have 30 different words for snow, but no words for intercontinental ballistic missile, for example. You know, that wasn't part of the environment. So it's a reflection of what was immediately around us.
Islam, thank you for that. And also, yes, Empress Portia in the chat, jurisdiction. Our language reflects the jurisdiction that we're in. We're in a sovereign jurisdiction that we have determined. We are the Phoenicians who determine what the words mean, etc.
Absolutely.
And all of that. That's why we write the way that we do, because we're putting our own energy and our own intentions into our document. And those intentions cannot be changed by semantic deceit. Semantic deceit is what the hybrids have been using, where when we say Constitution, we're thinking the organic original Constitution, and they're thinking United States Corporation Company Constitution, which is not a thing. Yes, Empress Portia, specifically the way words are spelled and who spells them, who's casting that spell, who's breaking that spell. Whatever the spell is, and that's another reason why they were saying that, for example, Latin was a dead language. The only reason they said that is because the living were not using it. Whatever language the living uses, in red in all lowercase letters, that is the language that determines the meaning of what's being said, the spell that's being cast. So we always want to be in complete control of the spells that we cast. That's why we write the way that we do. Okay?
Just one other comment.
Hold on.
I don't want my point to be missed. And I agree with everything that was said. because I know, for instance, the island, well, the corporate name that we know on the island known as Jamaica, I know that they have different dialects there of English and other islands. But the point that I'm making is that we are, a lot of us Moors are just, waking up to the new way and the new English, the new ancient English and the way of writing it and doing business this way. So I'm just saying that I just find it, for me personally, that it takes a lot of time and effort to go through the words, and it was almost like it was in my brain. I was feeling a little frustrated because I actually wanted to go through the document and read it and get it done, and I was just, I find I was just spending too much time with each word, just trying to understand what each word meant. So I'm just saying that for the Moors that are having trouble, it'll be nice to have, because I don't think that, I personally don't like to make things difficult for anybody. And I don't think that for us Moors that are waking up, that the process should be as easy as possible in everything that we do. And that's just how I'm seeing everything as we unfold our vast estate. So I just don't want the point to be missed that it's not that I disagree with the language and all the different, English language and words that were used in the past and so forth and so forth. I just want to make the point that I find it difficult to understand the words and the way they're spelled. And like for instance, when you look at some of the words, you have to spend a lot of time on each word to understand what the word is saying. And when we were taught how to read, that we read fluently, right? Until we come to a comma, then we stop and so forth. And then when we come to a period, then we made a complete stop. We pause with the comma. So when, I'm spending so much time, deciphering each word, I'm not getting to, and it's like I'm missing. I know for myself and a few other Moors, they have felt the same way. So I'm just bringing forth I'm bringing forth that information, just because I'm not sure if everybody else is aware that there are people actually struggling.
We feel you.
Yeah.
We feel you. Yeah, yes, Empress Shade said it in the chat. It's like learning any new language. It is a learning process. It is a learning process. And it is a matter of deprogramming and reprogramming, because we've been programmed for, to be colonized. We've been programmed to be denationalized and colonized. But when you look at the meaning, and I see I understand exactly what you're saying in terms of it being a little bit difficult for you. I will say this: I've not heard many more say that it's difficult. Most of them flow right with it, because when you go onto social media, even on Facebook has changed the way people write, because they're OMGing and all of this other language that's out there, which is still kind of corporate. It's still going to cast a spell. But I find that it's been easy for people to go out onto social media and they understand exactly what's being said out there, even though that's not the way it was taught in the hybrid schools. So this is the same thing, is learning to phonetically speak it out loud. See, when you read it out loud, if you read the words out loud, then it will make complete sense in terms of knowing phonetically what's really being said, because they're pronounced the same way that the hybrids taught us to speak and read. They're pronounced the same way. But then when you go back and you look at it is necessary, because in order to be a nation, in order to say that you are a nation, you must have a language in common that's yours and that everyone understands. That's actually in the definition of the word nation. Is a nation has common everything, common language, common culture, and everything that's different from others. So I see what you're saying. What we can do to assist you is make it so that not as much ancient English is used. However, our documents must remain in ancient English. They have to, because that is our national expression. Okay, but we can use a little bit less of it, so that so that you can understand. And here's the thing, even about those who are writing in ancient English. If you just change one word in the sentence to a spelling that's different from what the hybrid taught you, then you're using ancient English. So you can spell everything else the same. Don't use any capital letters. Always use red ink, and then spell just one word differently, because it's the same process as when the hybrid said start every sentence with a capital letter. That was them colonizing. That was them putting the documents in a capitalist system so that even anything that we wrote could be put on the stock market as property. And that's the thing that we're not participating in, is them putting things on the market, on the stock market, and calling it the heirs and saying that's us and we're property. We're not. That's what capitalism is. And that's what their language was that they were teaching in those hybrid schools, So to assist, we don't have a problem with using maybe 1 or 2 words per sentence to be in ancient English, but each sentence must have at least 1 word that is ancient English. Okay, and that will assist, in terms of not spelling every word in the ancient spelling. Will that help, Nobility?
I really would appreciate that. I think that would really help a lot, actually. Thank you, Empress.
You're welcome. Anything to help. We get it. We get it. We get it. We're also being prepared to start looking at our older records. And that's another reason why a lot of the museums that are bringing our things back into their inventory, because they're in subject status now. A lot of those museums that are bringing things back, when you look at those things, you're going to be able to read them because you're used to spellings being different, so that it won't look like it's written by those who are not, well, it is written by those who are not educated. See, what we didn't realize is that the spellings that the hybrids use is animal spellings. That it's very simplistic and mostly wrong when it comes to proper syntax. See, they don't use proper syntax and proper phonetical Phoenician definitions. Okay, and that's
you're going to go to jail.
What they were saying. Okay, so we want to be sure that we use our national language as much as possible and get accustomed to using it. Okay, Islam.
Yeah.
We're doing things that in this lifetime we've not been here before. So we have to get a little bit outside of our comfort zone, and probably a lot outside of our comfort zone for some. And yes, in the chat, we write the way we write so that they cannot commit fraud when it comes to how we speak. What we did not realize is even when we were going into those state courts, we were already speaking ancient English. So when we said Constitution, we were talking about the one we gave them. But they were speaking corporate English, so when they said Constitution, they were using a corporate constitution that denationalizes the Moors and makes it so that they treat everyone as a slave or a servant.
And
See, we've always been speaking ancient English. We've always been casting ourselves differently. We just didn't realize it. We thought we were saying the same thing, but we weren't. Go ahead, no, Bill.
yeah, I realized too also that there's some of our Moors that we seem to still be struggling with even the different colors that we're writing in terms of black and red mainly. And I don't ever really want to bash any of our Moors because I really think they're still struggling and understand and overstanding that concept. But I also find it contradictory because we are saying that we should sign or autograph, you know, in red, but yet we still want to write in black. So then why are you autographing in red if the black means so much? Why didn't you autograph in black? So I don't know why we're still really, a lot of our Moors are still really struggling with this. And I think we really have to go back to the concept of understanding what the different colors meant, what blue meant, what black meant, what red meant. And when you understand that and you understand that, it really shouldn't be a struggle. It really shouldn't be. And I see a lot of this, and I'm like, wow, I can't be, because it's a lot of our teachers too that, you know, are really gravitating.
It's okay, though.
Yeah, to this, and we really need to get over it because the black means if the black means dead, that's what it means. So if you're writing in black, it means that it's almost meaning that it has no real significance because you already know that the black writing means dead. So why are you still struggling with that? You know, and then we were put everything in black and then we autograph in red. So I still don't get so it's like if we're almost contradicting ourselves.
That's a contradiction. That is a contradiction. That's a huge contradiction. It's a clue, though. That was a clue.
Mm-hmm.
You know, signing in red. That was our first hint that wait a minute, writing should be in red if you want the writing to be valid.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's a clue.
Yeah, but I realize. I mean, a lot of Moors are still using black, and you know, it's really a struggle. It's still not there yet. And I remember even talking to one of our Moors, a real good friend of mine, and he was saying that he sent out, I believe it was an affidavit to one of the corporate fake judge or something like that, and he wanted a document. He said the document is not valid because he wanted a document written in black. And I'm like, well, maybe that's his concept. That's a concept that he's used to. Doesn't mean that you're doing something wrong. So it's trying to get them to understand that the meaning, you know, bringing them along with us, getting them to understand the meaning behind the colors. So we don't necessarily always have to, you know, feel that we have to please them. You know what I mean? Because we're the one now starting to do things differently and keep them in subject status. I just really wanted to point it out because I really find it really frustrating, and I would never bash any of our Moors because I realize some of us are going to catch on later than some, just like myself, struggling with the ancient English.
You know what, though? Practice makes it better. Practice makes it better. Looking at it and reading it out loud will make it so much easier. And here's the thing. Our DNA our ONA is activated right now. Mm-hmm. So it's going to make it so that we can absorb a lot more things that don't look like what we're accustomed to seeing, because everything that we've been seeing has been fraud. Everything that we've been looking at our whole life has been fraud. So, you know, we have to get used to seeing things that are not fraudulent. And that's what we're doing, including the language.
Some of us are slower than some.
Islam. Islam. You know what? But at least at least you're giving it, you know, you're putting your energy in it. At least you haven't just walked away.
No, I agree with everything that was said. You know, I agree with everything. I'm just having a hard time.
Yeah.
I find like wow, it's taking up so much of my time.
It gets easier. It gets easier. It'll get easier.
Yeah.
And here's the thing about this whole demonstration also with the Al-Moroccan American Exchange. The Al-Moroccan American Exchange is a completely different platform from the corporate platform.
Mm-hmm.
So everything about it points right back to the ancient.
Mm-hmm.
And all we're really doing is connecting, hooking up, and we're going to prove that tomorrow night too, yet again, where we're hooking up with everything that our ancestors did. It's going to almost be like occupation of our land never happened.
Mm-hmm.
When you see how similar what we're doing is to what our ancestors did.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful. It's going to be beautiful. And thank you for sharing that.
Islam.
You're in Canaan land, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Islam. We so love the Canaan land more. We do, because you all are part of us. They try to keep you all away from us, and we're glad that you're not away from us anymore.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, we're moving big
Yeah.
things over here. They don't want to move, but we're moving
Yes,
them.
I know that. I know it. I know you are. And that's another reason why I'm so excited for all of us, because in the different territories that we're in, we are actually one. We have Moors in Kuala Lumpur. We have Moors in Thailand and Indonesia, Canaan land, Olmec territory, which they called Mexico, South America. We have Moors everywhere, and it just feels like we never parted ways from each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
So thank you so much for that.
No
we
problem.
love hearing from you, by the way.
Yeah.
We need to hear those types of things that you brought forth, because our job is to assist one another and make it as easy as possible. But we want to and not saying that you're requiring this, but we want to make sure that we don't reduce the high science that we have, because I'll give you an example of that. When we first nationalized Islam, in the chat, I'll unlock it for. When we first nationalized, we were hearing things about, that the affidavits were too complicated for us. That's what was being said out there, that the affidavits that we were seeing out on the public record were too complicated. I'm so glad that that it was at a higher level, because it allowed me to come up quicker in terms of my overstanding.
Mm-hmm.
The more we're challenged, the quicker we come up. We meet the challenge every single time.
Mm-hmm.
Every time we meet the challenge. And so we want to keep things elevated, so that as we grow, we don't handicap one another, okay? And that's another reason why the challenge. Because the things that we were doing in the hybrid corporate status, the fake status that we thought we were in, those things were not really challenging for us.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't.
Mm-hmm.
Not a challenge. And our ONA and our cellular makeup and our chromosomes and our ability to think requires that we be challenged and bring forth, that we manifest, that we're constantly reaching up, up, up. That's what the Grand Rising is up, 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 And so we want to make sure that we keep that in mind as well.
Yeah.
That yes,
I've also seen incidents where it's almost some of the things that some of our Moors are doing. We're becoming a hindrance. I've heard stories of people that wanted to nationalize and told that they had to pretty much go through hoops to nationalize. So some of our things and the way that we do things, we become a hindrance to other Moors that are not awakened. So I think we really got to make sure that we don't become a hindrance, and anything that we do don't hinder anyone that are not at the level that some of us are. So I think we always have to try to keep that in mind as well, that not everybody's at the same speed.
Yes, that's important that you say that, because believe it or not, at every level, there are Moors who are teaching at that level.
Mm-hmm.
There are Moors who are teaching basic nationality.
Mm-hmm.
There are Moors who, you know, and we, again, that's why we don't bash anybody who's teaching Moorish science. It doesn't matter, you know, what their understanding of it is. We just need it out there because we can clean up as we go. But we don't bash anybody because there are Moors who are teaching just basic nationality. We've done videos on basic nationality. But then there are other parts of the estate that we know that we're out front. We know that. We know that we are forward thinking, but we need to be if we're to reach the goal of our complete and independence and our complete freedom. So we don't mind going on out there so that we can advance the empire. And we know that with study and with clear energy, those who are just waking up, they'll get it. The same way we did when we woke up. You know, we just made sure we got the energy part. Because, see, some try to get an understanding without tapping into the spiritual, metaphysical aspect of what we're doing. The metaphysical aspect of what we're doing allows us to think clearly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? That piece must be there. You can't, it makes it, I've seen more, you know, one or two more struggle with this, where all they did was read the documents and say, I did this, I did this, I did this, and it didn't work. That's what they say. Mm-hmm. Where they do the checkbox thing, but it's because they didn't get an understanding.
Mm-hmm.
In all thy getting, get an understanding. In all of the getting, because there's a lot to get here in terms of our estate is vast. But in all of that, we must get an understanding of what it is we're doing and why. It's to make everything and everyone and every part of our estate better.
Mm-hmm.
In order to be better, we have to have a spiritual and a mental transformation. And the things that we're doing to include the language being upgraded to that which our ancestors did is part of opening the gates of our mind, because man is mind.
Mm-hmm.
Without a foe, we don't know our strength, and that's in the Holy Quran. We don't know our strength without a foe. And the foe is really just the challenge of understanding. And so we want to spark that. We want to keep sparking that the way that it was sparked for us. Our teachers, when we first woke up, they sparked they sparked research. They activated our research gene.
Mm-hmm.
They activated our research cells. They said, and then they didn't try and say, think this and think that. They just said, think about it. Study it and think about it. That again, spark. And that's what we're doing with all of this, because, see, all languages came from us. And when you're looking at ancient English, it might look like it's just a made-up language, but it's not. Every word that we spell can be found in any other language, in different languages. So the ancient English spelling, you'll find some words that are in French. You'll find some words that are in German. You'll find some words that are in Espanol or Moorish Latin. You'll find words that are in Old English. Because, see, Old English is a hypothecation of ancient English. So when you're in the UK and you look in the UK legislative records, you're going to see everything written in Old English. Mm-hmm. Everything written in Old English. And so to include KV and all of those others. So we want to be sure that we spark the necessity to research and the necessity to understand, because our thinker has been put to sleep, and we've awakened it again, and we need to keep that going.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. In the chat, Justice Frank says we can't misspell anything anyway. We really can't. If it's coming from the heirs, it's spelled correctly.
Islam.
Yes, Islam. Thank you for that, Justice Joaquin. We appreciate you. So are there any other questions or comments regarding anything that we've spoken of? Tomorrow at 7 p.m., we'll be on the same platform. We want to be sure, as we move through the Delarium piece and introducing our own money, that we give as much width and breadth to, and height and depth to all of the things that make up this demonstration. Why it is we're doing it the way we're doing it, and what each requirement means, okay? Again, you know, we're not trying to tell the Moors what to do or lead anyone. We're actually sparking the ability for us to lead ourselves in an environment that's safe for us, which is our own environment. These companies that have been put forth, that the heirs have stepped up brilliantly in 30 days to almost $3 trillion in 30 days. $3 trillion in gold in 30 days that we both inherited and invested, because each investment is also a part of our inheritance. So, for example, the $100 million that I invested in the Puget Sound Agricultural Company is also expanding our vast estate by $100 million. So our investment is also growing the empire, and that's what we need to do. So if there aren't any other questions or comments, are there any other comments? Empress Shade, did you want to say anything? I want to make sure that, because on Sunday, so tomorrow on Thursday, I'll be introducing some things that you may not have seen. And then on Sunday, Empress Shade will be introducing more of the real estate piece and how the Al-Moroccan American Exchange and our own money ties into that. Okay?
Islam.
Empress.
You know, you said it so beautifully. What can I say on that? On that note, you said it beautifully. That's exactly pretty much almost verbatim what I was going to say, because it's time. I know all the Moors been waiting to get the real estate piece going, and everything comes in divine time, but the time is now. It is here. Yes. And we don't need to be fearing anything no more. Get all that, the fear mongering from you to, you know, practice on that, meditate on that. It's unnecessary at this point. Me and Empress Light, we talked about this tremendously over the last couple of days, but definitely yesterday. We're going to get into it more on Sunday, but yes, the time is now. We can actually start doing our demonstrations on our assets, on whatever that you're trying to do a demonstration on for a domicile or Moorish business wise, what have you. And I know in my knower that you guys won't have to worry about those policy enforcers at this time. They're no longer. Everything, you know, it's time to move forward and actually take over. Yeah. And go. Yeah. But I'll be ready, and I'm going to send more information. I'm working on the affidavit as we spoke about yesterday. So, yeah. Yes.
Thank you so much. So the banking piece and the real estate piece have come together. The Empresses have been working diligently. We've all been working diligently to manifest this piece. And we needed to rebut properly all that the fakes were doing. They were acting out what we were to do competently. Okay? And so now that we know that, we're able to properly rebut everything that they've been saying and doing, to include the fiat piece, which has been a huge hindrance for the Moors. And so we're just asking that you be patient through this whole process. It's not a one-day process. It's going to be unfolding over time. be sure to get your documents in red and all lowercase letters. If they're sent in black ink, we cannot do anything with that. But send it, but tell you to please do it, or, request that you please do it in red and all lowercase letters, or we cannot, it won't work for this demonstration. So, with that being said, we'll go ahead and take a pause here, and then we'll meet again tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Peace and grand rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine.
Grand rising.
Peace and grand rising.
Peace and grand rising.
Peace and love.
Peace and grand rising. Islam Mars.
Islam.
Grand rising. From Swat Format, Planet Now.
Islam.